KILR Killer Game.
Hello gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer, and welcome to the World Tour featuring Sublogic Flight Simulator 2 for the Commodore Amiga. Commodore Amiga, my very first computer. My very first personal computer. And I don't mean PC, I mean PC as it originally meant, personal computer. It wasn't a family computer, it was mine. I saved up the money, and I got myself an Amiga 500, and this was one of the first programs that I got because I loved it on the Commodore 64, and I was excited to have something with even better graphics. But it didn't have the same coverage. It didn't have scenery discs 1 through 6, so that's kind of like a bummer. But anyway, let's talk about what we can fly with the Commodore Amiga. So we are looking at the Chicago area chart, not to be used for real-world aerial navigation. That's a very important thing. Don't do it. We're right here at Pal-waukee. And we're going to be doing something a little interesting. And if you had seen the Commodore 64 version by any chance, you kind of know where we're going to be heading. These two airports right here I thought were interesting because you got a Rock County and you have a Greater Rockford. So I just thought it was kind of interesting, so I figured let's fly this direction to Rock County and we'll do a touch and go. And it's kind of interesting how that works out because it's not called Rock County anymore. So it's kind of like a tip to the hat of what used to be, although the airport is still there, unlike Merle C. Meigs. But anyway, we'll do a touch and go there, and we'll go straight and land at Greater Rockford. And as far as getting there, we'll tune in to Janesville. That will get us in the general area. And then we'll tune in Greater Rockford, go straight south, and again, that will get us in the general area. And then we just can kind of line up with the runway from there. Okay, so first order of business, we need to tune in our navs. So 113.4 is going to be Janesville, and that's where we are headed. So let's set that 67.8 miles. That's quite a bit of a distance here. We'll set our OBI. Okay, almost got it. What about 296, I guess? And then Rockford is 110.8. And this is just to give us sort of a reference by the time we get there. I mean, once we get on the 180 radio, we can change the radio over to this one. Okay, 110.8. Then that way we can get an idea of distance. Okay, looks good. Let's go ahead and get this started. Ah, the lovely sound of the Cessna. This is the one that I grew up with. And, well, eventually they used this sound on Flight Simulator 4 with the sound and graphics upgrade. And you had other sounds with it, like landing gear and flaps, because you don't have that here. You've got this. I believe there is a crash sound, and when landing on the runway, it sounds like a 737 jumbo jet landing. Hey, at least we can see these runways. Man, Commodore 64, it was like, well, here you go, here's some lines. Oh, that's right. The crash sound was not a crash sound. It was just the... It was the hurt dog sound, you know, when you land. That 737 jumbo jet landing. I remember now. Which has happened to us this series. Come on, get moving, get moving. Let's get ourselves turned here. Do they have to let my cat back in here? All right. We are up in the air. Bye-bye, Pal-waukee. Alright, let's see here. Make our turn to 296, which is not that direction. That would be this direction. Bring our landing gear up. Why did they decide that the landing gear should be the U key? Undercarriage? Maybe that's what it stands for. Well, we're on our way there now. We should get ourselves up to about 4,000, and we can go ahead and level off. Like how all the freeways are lined out in yellow at night. I think my auto trim is working. I can't tell. Oh, that may not be the auto trim. Which one's the auto trim then? I'm approaching 5,000. I didn't want to go that high. Trim, trim, trim. Where are you, trim? Heck if I know. I don't see it on here. Well, I know I can click on it. Those are the flaps. Fine zoom, coarse zoom, nose up trim. Aha! Those are the parentheses. Okay. The map is F3. Whoops. Autopilot is Z. Well, that one kind of carries over into Flight Simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator. Yeah, parentheses is working. There we go. That's what we're looking at. Yeah, we got much better speed going now. That road goes to Milwaukee. That over there goes to Chicago. And in front of us, I believe that is going to Janesville. Or Rockford, one of the two. Okay, so I managed to find my copy of the Amiga Flight Simulator 2. So I've been checking my the card here, and this has been very helpful since, you know, flying these different flight simulators. It's like some of the controls are the same and other ones are slightly different. But this is good. I'm able to have this for a reference. If I don't go without, you know, if I don't spend months without playing it, then I should be able to remember it. What's nice about the manual is that it comes in a binder. It's spiral binder. So here is the Commodore 64 one. Okay, just, you know, regular. It's kind of thin. And then the Amiga version comes with a spiral binder. See that? So it's relatively nice to have that there. And I think this includes, it includes flight physics and aircraft control. Although it doesn't say it on here, but it talks about flying the aircraft, flying the business jet, simulation, navigational aids. Okay, well, maybe it doesn't have it in here. But I do have the maps. And a Sublogic interactive cable. I think that's for multiplayer. Atari 520 1040 ST or the Amiga. So we've got 2 maps here. 2 maps but 5 areas. How does that work out? So New York, Chicago, Seattle, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Yet there's New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Seattle. I don't see a map for San Francisco. Is it in here? There may not be a map for San Francisco. That was an area that they added. Maybe they forgot. And here's the floppy disk. What do we got? 48 miles? Alright, not bad. So the view controls on this, you don't hit shift and the numerical keypad. Again, this is kind of different. It's similar to the Commodore 64 actually. On that one you had to hit the 5 key and then T for forward, or F for the left, or H for the right, or B for back. So you think of your 1 through 9 keys as the V, B, N, F, G, H, right there in the center of the keyboard. But with the Amiga, you don't have to hit the 5 key first. All those keys will make you look around the plane. So here's Y, H, N, B, V, F, R, T. Okay, so Flight Simulator 2 for the Amiga computer by Bruce Artwick and Chris Green. Program number AMFS2. Sublogic Corporation. The good old days. Copyright 1986, first edition, first printing. 713 Edgebrook Drive, Champaign, Illinois, 61820. Huh. Should look up that address and see what's there. I'm curious. I know Sublogic's not going to be there anymore, but still, just kind of curious of what's at that address now. Okay, there is my Google Maps. 7113 or 713 Edgebrook, right? 713 Edgebrook Drive. Edgebrook Drive, okay. Man, I totally missed the boat when I was doing the X-Plane and going to Champaign, and the fact that I didn't point out where Sublogic was located at, I totally missed that. There's nothing there. It's a building, but that's what it looks like. It's just a brick building. Apparently that's where Sublogic was at. So, a few other pictures there. Or, well, I just kind of scrolled over. I guess it's not being used. And they got trucks and cars parked there. Maybe it's being used as a parking lot. I don't know. But when I look it up on the map, it doesn't have it marked as anything. You see that? See, it's got stuff around it, but that building isn't anything. Kind of a bum deal. Also, I suppose I could always re-edit my X-Plane video and throw that part in the Sublogic. Oh, let's see here. I got a feeling that that road there is going to Janesville. I'm not hitting the rudder. I was hitting the brakes. That's what I was hitting. Come on, go to 295. There we go. That is tracking camera. Wasn't what I wanted to do. I thought maybe the D key would align the gyro compass, but nope. Nope, that did something else. Okay, so an introduction. Welcome to the Flight Simulator 2 microcomputer-based flight simulator. This simulator runs on the Amiga computer with single floppy disk drive. A lot of stuff on the Amiga was a single floppy. It got to the point where it's like, can we just have the option to install this stuff on a hard drive? Because who wants to go through 5-6 floppies to play Dragon's Lair or Space Ace? Yeah, I had those. After a while, those discs wear out. Getting the center back here on the... There it goes. It offers aircraft flight simulation that considers 47 important aircraft characteristics. And did they list all 47? I don't know. And provides multiple window, out the window, and control tower views using a 3D flight display. Extensive flight controls accessible using the mouse or keyboard, and minimum VFR and IFR instrumentation as specified by the FAA are displayed in a movable window. Flight Simulator 2, technically this is Sublogic Flight Simulator 3, features detailed graphics that closely simulate a pilot's actual perspective. The 68,000 precision graphics driver presents... That's not a graphics driver. It's a processor. The graphics were done by the Amiga's chipset. Anyway, presents solid modeled images with hidden surface illumination and surface shading with much greater accuracy than any previous microcomputer flight simulator. Adjusting our heading. Just a tad. Let's see. The world is more than 10,000 by 10,000 miles square, with a resolution of about 1/100th of an inch. Flight Simulator 2 simulates two types of aircraft: a single-engine, high-performance propeller-driven aircraft of the Cessna 182 class, as opposed to the Commodore 64, which was a Piper Archer, and a business jet of the Gates Learjet 25G class. Boy, that was an awesome thing that they added. No longer did you have to sit there and fly long distances on a Cessna. You had a jet. You didn't have to get the separate Sublogic jet like you did with the Commodore 64, but they did bring it out for the Amiga anyway. And that was another one that I got. The Cessna 182 type single-engine prop aircraft is an ideal plane for pilot training because it has climb performance and speed that keep a pilot busy, especially on landing approach. It's funny because they said the same exact thing about the Piper Archer. I forget, it was like the was it PA-82? It's something that I want to get for X-Plane. And probably prepared also. Sorry, PA-28. Yeah, here on the Commodore 64 it says flight characteristics of a Piper PA-28-181 Archer II. A single engine, 148 mile per hour, non-retractable gear aircraft equipped with a good set of avionics. This aircraft was chosen because it offers good performance, yet it is simple, it has no retractable gear or constant speed prop, and it's easy to fly. Okay, so it's a little different. I thought it was the same exact wording. The plane is slightly superior to an advanced World War I fighter. This aircraft simulation is designed for realism and presents the feeling of flying this particular aircraft in a real-life situation. The business jet simulation is designed more for fun than realism. The aircraft is very easy to fly, is quite aerobatic, and lets you see what it is like to fly at 450 knots and 50,000 feet altitude. Flight Simulator 2 will help you learn about flight. It is not, however, a substitute for a flight training course. If you want more information on learning to fly, we recommend that you read the Flight Training Handbook published by the FAA or check with your local airport for information about certified flight training courses. What do we got? 25 more miles left there. Oh, let's see here. Flight training and training aids. Yeah, we'll go through this one. So Flight Simulator 2 is useful in many flight training areas: navigation, visual orientation, and illustration of flight fundamentals. Although the simulator is entertaining and flies surprisingly like a real airplane. Sure does. There is no substitute for a good flight training course that includes ground school and flight time in real aircraft. The regulations regarding the logging of simulated instrument approaches for general aviation under FAA Regulations Part 61.57, look it up, are hazy. Sublogic is pursuing the topic of acceptance and approval by the FAA, perhaps with the addition of flight control hardware. This manual explains flight simulation behavior and basic flying techniques. It is not a thorough flight instruction course. Further training handbooks and maps will be very helpful, yeah, like San Francisco, which is not in the package, especially for the novice pilot. Flight manuals and maps are available at FBOs, fixed base operators, or flight training schools at most airports. They may also be obtained directly from mail-order suppliers such as Sporty's Pilot Shop, Claremont County Airport, Batavia, Ohio, 45103, and it is still there. I looked that up. It is still there. That's kind of cool. All right, and then they got following publications. There's the Flight Training Handbook, Aviation Fundamentals by Jeppesen, Instrument Flying Handbook. That's also U.S. Department of Transportation, FAA. That's for the novice pilot. For all pilots, Airman's Information Manual by Aero Publishers. Seattle Sectional Aeronautical Chart, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. Which is good, because it's not in this package. So, running the program, what are the requirements? Well, you will need an Amiga computer with at least 512K of memory. Amiga 500 will definitely work with this. An Amiga 1000, I think you're going to have to upgrade it a little bit. The Amiga 2000 will work with this. possibly the Amiga 3000s. I don't know, I never had one. But the Amiga 4000, nope, won't work. That was one thing that bummed me out. Optional joystick. Need a mouse or a color or monochrome monitor. Joystick setup. Booting the disk. Turn the Amiga power on. Insert your kickstart disk. That's if you have the Amiga 1000. Oh man, the Amiga 1000, you had to input a kickstart disk, and then you had to enter the workbench disk. The workbench was Windows. But this you had to boot off the Flight Simulator 2 disk. Hey! We got roads. Janesville is going to be right up ahead. There's an auto demo mode. And then there is an online help. Instrument and control functions are documented on the disk. Then there's a quick test flight. So this doesn't default to Chicago megs, which I just thought was weird. This one takes you to runway 27 right at Oakland International Airport. Then it just gives you some pointers here on your first flight, looking out the windows and stuff like that. Oh, let's see. I think I will put that right there. As fun as it would be to get one of my Amigas working again, I have a 500, a 2000, and a 4000. I actually got two 4000s. Just haven't had much desire to get them working, you know? It's, I can do, other than the video toaster and the video flyer, which is a non-linear editing system. There's our airport. I can do everything with Win UAE, or in my case Amiga Forever, which has that built into it. This is a lot nicer to look at night than it was on the Commodore 64. Whew. Now, one thing that is not showing up here is this. Okay, the road. There's the road. The city. There should be a city sitting right here. And then there was another one right up here. I think you see the runway right there. Okay, 10 miles. Let's start dropping some flaps here. Aha, yes. Landing gear, that would be a good thing. In for our touch and go. Except I don't want to go down that quickly. Much easier to see that runway than it was the Commodore 64. Dropping another thing of flaps here. We're down to 60 knots. I don't think I want to slow us down any more than that. I thought the Amiga responded better, too, than the Commodore 64. Well, obviously, you know, it's a better designed computer. Where I start using the rudder here to yaw us over. Can you see the runway there? We are lining up with it. Off center just a little bit. This little center thing helps, having this right there. You can turn that off, but that just seems to be kind of like a, I don't know, like a signature thing with the Amiga, because that, I don't know if that was on the Atari version or not. Alright, here we go. A little high. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Full power. Yes. Flaps up. Landing gear up. Ah, we are in business. And there we go. Rock County, folks. Okay, let's go ahead and change nav 1 to 110.8. Okay, we got 26 miles to go for that. Trying to level off here at 3,000. See, so it's got the roadways, but it doesn't have the city. So that's a win for the Commodore 64 there. That's why it's interesting to compare these flights with the different simulators, because it allows you to see stuff like this. So out here should be Rockford. This road goes up to Madison. So in case you wanted to do some VFR flying, you know where these roads are going. You know, so with the flights that we've got planned, as far as where we're going, because we're heading east, we'll be flying with the Amiga for a while, because we'll be heading east. We'll even be going into the scenery disc number 12 area, which is not covered by the Commodore 64. And although I have it on the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2, all I have is a teledisc image, and I haven't been able to work out how to get those images to actually work. With like an emulator or something like that. We're still going up. So if I manage to get that working, if not, Flight Simulator 3, which is also limited to Sublogic scenery discs, will be following along with us as far as the Amiga, which is interesting because Flight Simulator 3 is practically a port of this right here. And if you look at the controls of Flight Simulator 3, they are very, very close to this. although it's not filled in, which I thought was kind of strange. And Flight Simulator 3 does not have any digitized sound or anything. It still has the PC speaker stuff. Boy, this was freaking out here. But yeah, at least we have one other simulator that will be able to follow along with us. Commodore 64 doesn't have scenery disc number 12. One of these days I might be able to get it working with Flight Simulator 2. But then there's going to be Western Europe, so we'll be flying in that area and then making our way back. Where we will lose the Amiga is when we start getting into the western part of the United States. The only scenery that we're going to have there is Seattle, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Everything else that's covered by scenery discs 1 through 6 were never released. So, if you wanted to get an idea of what they would look like, that's where Flight Simulator 3 will come in handy. It's not the Amiga, but the scenery will be pretty much what you see is what you would have had here. I'm really surprised that there wasn't, that they didn't have the cities on here. They just have the interstates. Oh, that is disappointing. And there she is, Greater Rockford. Alright, we're going to go ahead and turn this direction. We'll get our landing gear down. And the thing of flaps. We are going to land on runway 18. The flight mechanics on this are a little clunky. It's like you drop 1 degree of flaps in your landing gear and you just like start doing that number. I have to like increase power and bring my trim up just to control the descent. I think I see the runway. The one that we want. We see a runway. That's not the one we want. It should be right about here. There's a chance that the city is actually here, and we just can't see it during the day or during the night. It's probably here during the day. We'll find out. We'll find out. We'll see what happens. We'll land and I'll turn it to daytime and we'll check. We'll take a look and see if it's actually here. Okay, that runway's right on the edge. It's right over here. I think it is, because the fact that this line stops and continues, I think there is something sitting right here. Because I can easily see like a box going this way, and I don't know, but I think there is actually something here. I'm beginning to see the runway a little better now. Sure seems like we're sitting low, though. Yeah, our altitude is still 2,000. Using the right rudder to just kind of easily turn ourselves. I think this one's got VASI indicators. I thought I saw a red light. If that's the case, we are too high. I don't remember seeing those on the Commodore 64. I think I see blue. I do. This has got taxiways on it. Those are VASI lights, all right. There's the fuel. I see that. Where are the taxiways, I wonder? Aha! Okay, we passed one. Guess I need to close that. It's an invisible taxiway. They're transparent. You can see it underneath the runway. Oh, we have to go around. Apparently we gotta go around this way. Hey, there's the soapbox. Can always appreciate the soapbox. Fill out the plane, get it washed, get ourselves washed, you know. All that filthy grime and everything. Trying to determine which side is the fuel thing on. Looks like it's on that far side there. Come on. They couldn't make it easy to get to, could they? Sometimes I don't even need brakes. All I gotta do is cut the throttle and it seems to stop on its own. Quickly. There we go. We're all filled up now. Seems good. Let's go ahead and shut this off. Woo! My ears are ringing. Okay, so let's bring up the map. And let's see if we can zoom out here. That's not what I want to do. I want to zoom out. There we go. Can I hold that and click it? No. Oh my, this is going to take a bit. I don't think that... No, you know what? This is not... I don't think this is going to show us... Oh no, wait. There's a road. There's got to be an easier way to do this. I'm sure there is. Yep. I see it. Do you see it? So they do have the cities here. We just can't see them because it's nighttime. Which is silly. Oh, who knows? Maybe this city is not awake at night. Maybe they all sleep or something. But yeah, there we go. That's one of them, and I bet the other two are out there also. As we slowly zoom our way out. I think it might be the plus or minus keys that do this. I don't know. I'm afraid to press the minus key. I've had that reset my flight while I'm recording on the Commodore 64, and it's really annoying. Let's see. Zoom. 1 times is backspace. Okay, well. Aha! Well, that makes that a little bit clearer. Of course, zoom out and in is F9 and F10. Well, see, you can see where we're at. Well, we only see the one. I think we have to be closer to the other one in order to see those other two. But hey, at least we know it's there. Well, we'll just go ahead and close this. So anyway, thanks for joining me on this flight, this little retro flight with the Commodore Amiga. Love this machine. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up. It helps me and the channel, and helps other viewers like yourself out there that might be looking for some Amiga Flight Simulator videos. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Let's build our community. And lastly, the notification bell. Give that little bit of a ring there, and you will get notified when another video is uploaded to this channel. And you would want to know that. Of course you do, whether it's the Amiga, the Commodore 64, or what have you. All kinds of stuff that I'm working on and getting on the channel. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next leg of our journey.